Hey, what's up everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so talk about the LA Lakers or some basketball team of some sort, because really I don't have a script, and sometimes I start the video thinking I'm going to talk about one thing and end up going off and venturing to other things, so we'll figure it out. But yeah, start with the Lakers. We lost to the Golden State Warriors last night. No, Bron, not complaining. At the end of the day, Bron has sacrificed a lot. There were times where I thought he would not play because of injury. He played through it. So if he wants to not play against the Golden State Warriors, I'm one of the few people online that's going to tell you it's not that big of a deal, bro. Although, when we lose, which we did, you hate those games. You hate those games, not just because you lost, but because you know that if you would have had your full components, you likely would have been able to compete in a way that maybe made it so that you won. And that's what I say about that game. I said that about a couple of games that LeBron missed. Hey, look, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm of the mindset that LeBron doesn't necessarily affect winning. But it doesn't mean you can necessarily win without him. You know what I mean? It's like, he may not be the end-all, be-all to your success, but he's definitely going to be the end-all, his absence is the end-all, be-all to your failure in most cases. And that is what I know about LeBron James at this point. If you want LeBron James to miss games, you got to make sure that your team is on a string so that when he does, if he load manages like yesterday, everybody is playing their best. You can't really expect for the guys to come in after the All-Star break, bringing back certain guys from injury that have been gone for longer than the All-Star break, and then you pull him out of the equation and expect for the team to be cohesive against a team like the Golden State Warriors, whom you beat in double overtime about 4 weeks ago. They're going to come in with a certain level of intensity. They're going to come in fresh legs, especially their young players. They're going to come in having been just with their full components, having more to them than you're going to have to you when you don't have Bron on the floor. So for me, it's like, I appreciate that LeBron James is 39 years of age. I am too. Yeah, I get it. I'm 4 months older than the guy. But at the end of the day, we got to pick and choose wisely which games we're going to miss. Not against contending teams or teams that we can see in the play-in tournament, teams we're fighting to keep from having, in our space in regards to seeding. We can't be losing those games against those teams. San Antonio, with all due respect to San Antonio, who has one of my favorite players in the league right now with Bayama, you can't possibly think losing to them is more important than losing to the Golden State Warriors in 2024. They only have 11 wins. You're not fighting against them for anything. And while we did lose that last game against them, which means that you can lose to them, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but Bron missed that game too. So it's like, for me, it's like, dog, if you're going to miss games, let's try to limit the ones where the team isn't cohesive when you do. Limit the ones that are against teams that you're fighting against in seeding situations. Because even if I want to subscribe to the idea that he's protesting against the Lakers for not making trades or protesting against the Lakers for some of the chatter going on around trading him, you still want to represent yourself in the end as a teammate to whatever team you own. Especially when you got the GOAT conversation surrounding your name. It's so important that you, above all else, other players rather, understand the importance of which games need to be played in and which games need to be missed. Hey, buddy, what's up? What's up? Hey, friend, hey. And that's really what it's about for me. When you find yourself in a space where you want to miss a game, but you can play the very next night in the back-to-back, choosing which game to miss can be the difference between having seeding advantages against that team that, you choose to miss the game against or not. You want to make sure that you choose the right game. And so for me, we just didn't choose the right game. We didn't choose the right game. And if he could play in the All-Star game, he could definitely play in the Golden State game. And then just turn around and miss the San Antonio game, no problem. Now, I'm the same guy. I don't want to be a hypocrite. I'm the same guy that argue you should try to secure the ones you can win by having them play against the weaker teams. I am the guy who said that. So I don't want nobody to think that I'm unaware. You can splice these two videos together, you clearly see that I'm, in theory, contradicting myself. But what you got to understand is, I don't expect to lose neither of those games if LeBron plays. When I was saying that, we were playing against a contender that I didn't think we would beat, even if LeBron played. So it's like, he can miss that game. Let's secure the one that we can win against the worst team of the two. But when you're talking about the difference between San Antonio and Golden State, there's a great difference between them. But if we're 100%, I expect to beat both of them. You see what I'm saying? I know we can beat the San Antonio Spurs without LeBron James. I don't know that we can beat the Golden State Warriors without LeBron James. I don't know that we can. And so that's what it really comes down to for me. Yes, I want to secure the one I know we can win, but I also want to secure both games if possible. So in this scenario, I want him to play against Golden State. Now, if you play in Boston and the Spurs, then maybe he should sit the Boston game and play the Spurs game to secure the one you're supposed to win, because you're probably not beating Boston, in theory, though we just did without him, ironically enough. But that's not the point. That's not the point. Point is, you want to measure what is possible. And having him play against the Spurs when he just couldn't play 24 hours ago, but he could play in the All-Star game before that and didn't get hurt in that All-Star game. I feel worse about that now than I did before it happened. I gave him a pass before it happened, but now that I see how it played out, I feel more so like everybody else do. I just I just think we might have played that the wrong way, and maybe it cost us in the long run when it's time to play against the Golden State Warriors, of whom we got to play 2 more times here in LA at the end of the season. No telling what we're going to look like at that point. No telling if he's going to want to slow down, load manage, whatever at that point. That's the San Antonio Spurs. This is our last matchup against them. We only play them 3 times. So they're not making the playoffs. I don't believe even if they were to win the rest of their games, they could have any chance of making the playoffs. So winning against them is great. Losing against them, and as it pertains to having seeding circumstances affect the team that you're playing against specifically in come playoff time, it doesn't matter. Now, you need to win every game you can win, which is why I argue you should strategize a bit better. But at the end of the day, if I got to choose, you got to play the Golden State game, man. You got to play the GS Dub game. So I just think we mismanaged that a bit. I've seen our organization mismanage things, in my opinion, a bit. It was a game that we had against the Denver Nuggets, I believe it was last year, where we had just beat the Denver Nuggets with the exact same lineup that we were using. We had just beat them with the exact same lineup they were using, and then proceeded to load manage on purpose, set like half our starters against them, that same starting lineup, because we had it in our minds that we couldn't win the game. The team strategized like, yo, we just going to rest everybody because we can't beat them whether we have everybody or not. And my thing was, we just beat the same dudes. The same dudes that they're throwing out there are the exact same people we had beat the week before. All we had to do was just suit everybody up and run the same stuff. And wouldn't you know it, we literally haven't beat the Denver Nuggets ever since. You ain't beat them since. I kid you not. And so that's really what it comes down to. You just don't want that to be what sets the precedent for you being a team that can't compete against a team that you're going to probably see in the playoffs, or have home court advantage be a risk because you decided to load manage throughout the course of the season against that same squad. It's bad strategy, man. It's bad strategy. And so that's my thinking. I'm not mad at him trying to rest the ankle, but at 39 years of age, there's always going to be an injury to try to rest. There's always going to be something that hurts, man. It just is what it is. You've been in the league for 1,000,000 years. You got more mileage than anybody in the league ever. Whoever played in the league. No one's played more minutes than this guy. No one scored more points. So it's like, of course he going to have something to load manage at all times. I can argue he should play no regular season games by that logic. Like, none of them. Save him completely for the playoffs if we're going to think that way. So, you know, I gave him a pass, and I think I'm reneging on it to a degree, only because of how we actually came out and looked. And shame on me for not anticipating that, given all that happened with players coming back and players sitting out, etc. I didn't know Christian Wood was going to be sitting when I said I gave him a pass. I didn't necessarily realize that Max Christie would be coming back and playing his regular role. Man, that's another thing. Maybe it's best for coach to consider easing guys back in rather than throwing them back in off a fresh injury. Maybe not for a whole month. Now you want to throw them back in for like 18 minutes. Maybe that's not the best way to go. I don't know. I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like I'm the guy that should be making that decision. But maybe it makes more sense to try to ease them in for that exact reason. Because it is a real adjustment. Especially, and I don't know if this applies because I don't remember if they were on the floor together or not, but when you have a brand new guy coming in. Or 2, when you consider the guys that we got in on 2-way contracts that we picked up a couple weeks ago. Skylar Mays, for example. And that's like new pieces you're incorporating into the situation who have to still try to get used to what it is they're doing, and then you got guys coming in and out of the lineup. It's kind of hard to have cohesive basketball. So that's really what my mindset is. I just want my squad to consider what it means to mitigate these problems when you have the ability to do so. You don't want LeBron to miss games where everybody's coming in and out of the lineup. You need him to be the mainstay so that you can get his 30 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, whatever it's going to be. It's so important you do that. So you don't lose the games that you know you can win, only for him to play in games that you know you can definitely win without him. So that's what it is, man. If we were playing against the Nuggets or something this year, different thought. Because apparently we can't beat the Nuggets. So maybe it makes more sense for them to just rest and just let that be a scheduled loss. But, nah, I don't think that when you're talking about the Golden State Warriors this season. I don't think that. And so, yeah, that's what comes to mind. Got the Spurs tonight, of course, as I said a million times. And, you know, I think the Spurs are one superstar away from being a legitimate team that's as good as any solid squad, you know, in the league. It's, you know, it's unfortunate for them they play in the Western Conference, but you talk about Wembanyama, all you got to do is get him a Trae Young or Donovan Mitchell or something like that. He's a contender right then and there. That's all you need. And I could argue that they could get that player without losing really a whole lot of what their war chest provides in picks and players. They got picks for years. They got so many picks. They can throw 2 and 3 of them at a certain player, throw in a Devin Vassell and bring him whoever he needs to play with. That's not going to be difficult. And you still got picks that'll be replenishing. It's not like they've mortgaged anything. So for me, it's like, I think San Antonio is kind of short selling themselves to a degree when you talk about the legacy or long-term legacy of what you would expect to be a Pantheon great. I could argue they threw away an opportunity at real playoff success in his rookie season just by going forward with the tank mission just because they thought he wouldn't be ready. I told him this before the season. Don't be so certain he's not going to come out and be ready. Don't be so certain that a guy that's 7'7", 7'6", whatever, how heck, 7'5", who can play like a guard and hit threes all night if he needs to and shoot over literally anyone, is not going to be ready to win a championship out the gate. Because I could argue if you put him on Golden State, that's exactly what would happen. If you put him on the Lakers next to Anthony Davis, we're winning the whole thing. You put him on that Celtic team right now, he's winning the whole thing. Now, granted, those teams are kind of souped up, so I don't think I'm telling anybody anything special there. But even if you put him on a team like the Magic, they're a contender. You know what I mean? Teams that are not quite that. The Rockets, they're a contender. Thank God they didn't get the first overall pick. So it's like, these are the type of things that I'm telling you guys. It's like, I think the Spurs should have went on them in a little bit. Maybe gave up a pick or 2, maybe 3, and try to get them that player that can run with him without losing to Devin Vassell. You know what I mean? And I think that'd be a team that could be really serious right now. Instead, they got 11 wins, and this guy's arguably an all-star. In his rookie season, I never agree with that, man. And what are they going to do? Draft another player that's supposed to be his running mate that's a little younger than him? You're not going to be winning for another 4 or 5 years at best because you're waiting on that guy to develop properly. It's not necessary when I can go take 3 or 4 picks out of my 20 picks and go get Trae Young or whoever would be available to me in that vein. San Antonio's, they're slowing it down, and then they got him playing, 28 minutes? I guess I can agree with that to a degree, but not when he's playing this well this soon. I'll have to treat him like a rookie if he's playing like an all-star. And so I don't agree with that, man. He had 5 steals, 5 blocks in the last game, double-double. He had 10 blocks in the game before the all-star break. I mean, it's like, yo, this guy's ready to win. You don't want to be playing with guys that are afraid to pass him the ball or a bunch of guys can't defend. I mean, come on, man. At some point in time, San Antonio has to understand, yo, you got something like right now. You don't have to wait. But if you do wait, you might have him pick up the wrong habits and thinking he's a loser or something like that. You know how young players are. They start believing that they're not as good. It's not you. It's the team holding you back, buddy. It's so players on that team that need to be traded away so you can get the ball. What you need is a player who's going to get 12 assists off of you. You can go throw 2 picks at Cleveland and go get him Darius Garland. You know what I mean? A player like that can send him way up. I can argue that Darius Garland does have issues staying healthy, but you put Wembanyama next to Darius Garland right now, I promise you they make the playoffs. Give them a whole season, they make a playoff. If Garland can stay healthy, they make the playoffs. And so it's like you don't even have to do that much to get that much better because he's going to hold down so much of the load. Devin Vassell is a guy who can score 30 points if he can stay healthy. You don't have to do too much. That'll cost you like, what, 3 picks? That ain't too much for a team that has plenty. And so that's what I think about the San Antonio Spurs. They have the opportunity to get better, and they're slow poking the situation. And I just don't think it's necessary. It's not at all necessary. He don't need that. What he needs is to show people out the gate that, yo, I can win 8 championships in my career. Just give me the right team and we can go. I got the best coach arguably ever in Popovich. Let's go. And so I just think the Spurs shortchanged themselves. They would be a little too conservative. This was a traditional rookie season for a player that honestly didn't need one. He didn't need one. He didn't need one. I think he can handle the pressure. He's been playing pro for the last several years. He didn't need one. And if a team like San Antonio wins the championship this soon, can you imagine who wants to play with him after that? Do you imagine who wants to come to the Spurs because he's already proven he's a champion in his rookie season? You don't know. Maybe Luka Doncic decides he wants to be a Spur. Now you got Wemby and Luka. That's not going to happen unless you start showing them that you're ready to win again. And so I just think they dropped the ball a little bit. They're taking it slow. Maybe they luck out and love what they get in the draft, but there's nothing in this draft that's really going to make you go crazy if you're the Spurs. Alexander Sarr, but he's another center. What do you need him for? So I don't know. There's some guys, don't get it twisted, but they don't need to win the lottery. They need to realize they've already won the lottery and bring to that lottery pick all the stuff that'll help him win. That's all I think. And so that's what I got to say about the Spurs. They're slow poking it. And maybe if they're in the Eastern Conference, they feel a little more confident. But I doubt it. They're just slow poking it, man. So that's been my opinion all year. And now that we're going to be seeing Wemby tonight, I just know he's going to lose. And I'm happy about that because I'm a Laker fan. But what the heck, man? He should be on a contender right now. So that's my thought. And as far as everything else, man, you know, other teams you can think about. I think of another team like Utah, who's kind of slow poking it as well. When you have so much wealth and equity, maybe it does make a little more sense for them because they don't have a Wembanyama, but they got enough to go get literally anybody. And they got so much depth on their team of players that can really help, but not be super duper stars, to where they can bring themselves a number one with a few picks, still have their own picks because all the stuff that they got from Minnesota in the Gobert trade, contend and build through the draft if they want to. Or trade the picks they have for better picks if they want to go that route. But it's just like, when you hoard picks, a lot of times what you underestimate or overestimate is how successful those picks are going to be when you draft them. You know, first round pick may not turn out to be nothing. You trust your scouts, they may draft well, but maybe the guy comes in and has injury issues. Picks are worth so much more before they're drafted, good most of the time. Especially in a draft like this one coming up. If I'm the Utah, I'd trade that pick. I'd trade that first round pick for this upcoming season, maybe couple that with like a 29 pick or something, and get myself a player that I could put next to Markkanen so that Markkanen can have a little more fullness to his squad. I like Keontae George a lot. I'm a fan of their center, their shot blocking center. He's pretty good, although I wonder if he's going to be a career starter or if he's going to be a career backup. I'm not really sure. But he's a good player. He's definitely going to block a lot of shots in his career. I like Taylor Hendricks, but I think he's several years away from really being a contender for them. John Collins is cool, but I don't need his contract if I'm the Utah Jazz, if I'm not good enough to win. If I'm not really good enough to win, why do I, you know what I mean? It's kind of like he's just here to just make us good, but not great. So what's the point? Just it's no use for it. And so that's what I think. I think Danny Ainge knows what he's doing, but I think he might be overplaying his hand just a little bit and may be in a no man's land situation where it may not necessarily be in his best interest to stay there. If I'm being completely honest with you, maybe he doesn't benefit you to be in no man's land. So, hey, that's what I think, man. Utah is in the Trump seat, though. I don't think many people realize exactly how much they have, man. They got all their own picks, and they got all of Minnesota's picks, and probably a few others from other things that they've done. So it's like, when you consider them, they're like the Knicks. They have all the picks in the world. And that brings me to the Knicks. You know, the Knicks are in a real good position to finally win a championship at some point if they utilize those picks properly. If they don't do the wrong thing with them. Now, what they should do, I do not know. I do not know. Because I'm the guy that says they definitely shouldn't have made that trade for Donovan Mitchell. I don't think they should have done that. I'm glad they did not for themselves. But I like Donovan Mitchell a lot more now than I did when I said that. And that's a whole other conversation. But him and Brunson are going to be fantastic together. But I think they're going to be like, again, Cleveland with Garland and Mitchell. I don't think you're that much better than that, which is cool, but I can find a better way to utilize all those picks that the Knicks have. I can find a better way. I heard something about trading for Kevin Durant at some point if the Phoenix Suns don't like what they see over this course of the next several months. I don't know about that. I don't know if I'm giving away picks for Kevin Durant in 2024. I don't think so. I mean, I will give away some, but not like the fullness of what it is that the Phoenix Suns will otherwise want. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Now, if you want to match salary, maybe Julius Randle, of course you'll move a Julius Randle for Kevin Durant. But like if I'm giving away 4 and 5 picks plus, nah, I'm not doing all that. Not for KD at this point. And I still believe in KD can win, but I'm not doing that if I'm the Knicks. Not just so I can say I finally got to start. Nah, I'm not doing that. So for me, it's like New York Knicks are in a similar spot as the Utah Jazz in a way. I think they have more win now pieces, you know, especially with Jalen Brunson being somebody who I think is going to be an all-star many times over. And look, man, I just want to reiterate, I really do like Jalen Brunson, man. I really like that player. I think he's a hell of a closer. I think he's practically unguardable. I think he's a really good three-point shooter, although I don't expect him to be considered a knockdown three-point shooter. I think he can be damn close to it. Defensively, he can be part of a sound defensive core. I'm not saying he's the key to the defense, but he's not going to be a weak link necessarily at all. I think he's a full player. He can make assists happen. He's getting better. He has great work ethic, good pedigree, a sound disposition to himself. I just think he's a hell of a player, man. I really do. I think he's a hell of a player. And it's up to him what echelon of great he reaches up to be. I don't know that I have him above Donovan Mitchell. I don't know that I have him above Trae Young, but he's right there with them. And maybe could surpass them depending on what his teams do. But the fact that he went from a role player in Dallas to a fill-in guy for injured Luka Doncic and made himself a worthy guy, and his jump to New York and practically turned into the face of the franchise there, his jumps have been significant as it pertains to where he was to where he's at in the last 3 years. His jumps have been really, really special, man. Something like James Harden when he left OKC and went to Houston. So it's like, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Jalen Brunson. I think he's going to be even better next year if he can stay healthy. He had no issues. I think the Knicks got them something special there. Now, the question is for me is what else do I want to keep? What else do I like if I'm the Knicks? I did not mind them getting rid of RJ Barrett. I didn't love them getting rid of quickly, but I guess now that it's all said and done, it's not the worst thing in the world that he's not there. OG Anunoby, I've flip-flopped on this. That's why I'm being silent, because I didn't like OG. He came there, he looked amazing, they played great, and then he got hurt again. And that's my argument with OG Anunoby, is not that he's not a great player, it's that can he stay healthy long enough to really help a team? The year they won the championship in Toronto, he was hurt. He was not on the floor for any of that glory. So it's like, if you're going to give him all the praise for being a great Toronto Raptor and an NBA champion, please understand he didn't participate in that process. He was hurt. And so for me, it was like, I'm not giving away quickly for him. Now, I would throw in RJ Barrett. I'm not as big on Barrett. I think he looks great in Toronto, but I'm not as big on him with the Knicks as I am with him with Toronto. However, RJ Barrett for OG Anunoby, I can live with that. Well, not bad. But to throw in quickly, that's a little extra on the trade package. I don't know if I love that trade package, to be honest with you. Especially if I can't keep him healthy, man. If I can't keep the guy healthy, he fits great. He can play defense, amazing. He can shoot the ball, cool. But is he going to be healthy for me? That's what I'm asking you all. Can he be healthy? And the answer is no. Salute the Kobe minute. I don't believe he can. So that's my whole thing on OG Anunoby with the Knicks. The fit is great. If you can get him healthy, keep him healthy, great for you. I don't hate that these players that they traded him for are gone. But I could definitely live without his injury issues. Period. That's what it comes down to. And another thing that comes to mind for me, again, I've talked about this team a lot lately, is the Clippers. Y'all know I ain't, Clippers fan. I'm a Lakers fan. I do not have a whole lot of love for. They had the Clippers up, as I was saying. I looked up and it was right there, and it clicked away right before I had a chance to show y'all. I was gonna say those guys, but they're gone. No love for the Clippers, man. They were right there. That was just a second slow. But anyway, I don't like the Clippers that much, man. I look at the Clippers and I say, as I said before in another video, I just don't trust the guys. Together on paper, wow, we should be able to win 2-3 championships. But when I look and break down each and every one of them, man, I don't trust no James Harden. I don't trust Paul George. I don't trust Kawhi Leonard as it pertains to his availability. I don't trust Russell Westbrook because he be doing stuff that I don't find myself okay with on the basketball floor. You know what I mean? So, and his mentality at times can be a bit on the I'm fine with losing side. So it's like if I'm to trust these people, I don't trust Norman Powell's health. He ain't healthy. He ain't never healthy. I don't trust Zubats against some of these centers like AD. If he has to go up against some of these dudes like Jokic, he gonna lose that battle in a 7-game series. So it's like, together, if they're all healthy, their talent should in theory be able to help them win it. But when you start breaking down who these guys actually are, I have a hard time believing in those people. I do. I have a very hard time believing in those people. And it ain't about their talent, because they're all proven to be talented. It's just about whether or not they've ever proven that they can win any damn thing. And the answer is no, they can't. None of them can, except for Kawhi Leonard. And maybe he's enough. Maybe not. Ty Lue's won the championship, but Ty Lue's also done some things I've scratched my damn head with some of his rotations too. So I don't know. I don't know about the Clippers. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm rooting for them. But even if I were, I would not be sold on this. I would not be sold on this if I were a Clipper fan. Not by any shadow of certainty. Absolutely not. So yeah. Who else I want to talk about? We got about 9 minutes to talk, something like that. The Pacers are interesting. When you start talking about teams that can dethrone the Cleveland, dethrone the Knicks, I think the Pacers are interesting, man. Now that they brought in Pascal Siakam, it didn't really lose anything of substance. You lost Buddy Hield, but I'm not a Buddy guy, as you guys know. I think they're pretty interesting, especially now that Joel Embiid is out the way. That makes Philly out the way for me, unless he's gonna make a late season comeback, which I wouldn't suggest at all. Look at this. Live on Sunset right now, y'all. Friday, at the end of February. But anyway, so like for me, I just think they're very interesting because Tyrese Halliburton is that interesting to me, and their offense was so damn potent to start the season. Now, granted, we beat them in the in-season tournament championship game. The Lakers did, but I legitimately wonder if we would have, if Nembhard would have been on the floor playing his best, because I'm that high on Andrew Nembhard. I am. As a Laker fan who watched him shoot us down at the buzzer and lock up our guard that game, yes, I'm high on Andrew Nembhard. Very. And so I'm one of the few people who still remember he wasn't out there, because I was very thankful for that. And so when they're fully healthy, they got players on their team that concern me, man. When you talk about Miles Turner, one of the better shot blockers, good three-point shooting center. If he's healthy, he's a problem. Pascal now is a 30-point, 40-point scorer when he's balling. A nice glue piece to keep everything together as well. Who's that point guard? I never remember his name when I need to. But the guy they got that always balls out. Such a dangerous player. God, I hate when I forget his name. I do this often. But that point guard is incredible. Naismith is another player who's getting better by the second. Ben Shepherd's another young player to where just because you think you're in garbage time against this team with a lead, you're up by 12. They put a guy like that on the floor and he cuts the lead into 6 because they got that much depth and he's that good. Like, that's the type of stuff that you can deal with when you're dealing with the Pacers, one of the best offenses, arguably, ever. Now, defensively, they're not very good, and that's why I don't think they have a championship ceiling. But offensively, they can score with anybody, man. Like, anybody. And if Tyrese Halliburton is in his I ain't gonna turn the ball over bag, but I'm gonna get like 20 assists bag, you're in some trouble. He gonna shoot the ball as well. You know who he reminds me of, honestly? And this may seem blasphemous, it may not, depending on where you stand, but he reminds me of a taller Chris Paul. That's what Tyrese Halliburton reminds me of, a taller version of Chris Paul. When Chris Paul was in his prime, he hardly missed any jumpers, in my opinion. Anytime I saw him, he was hitting every damn jumper he could throw. And he hardly missed any opportunities at getting his players the ball in their spots to score easy buckets, rhythm jump shots. He was one of the best there was at that. And so when I look at who they have, scorers on the Pacers, and I look at the assist numbers and the scoring numbers that he puts up shooting the three, and then I look at what he can do with his length rebounding the ball, and then I realize he's a better defender than Chris Paul, I'm not certain I'm not looking at another Chris Paul, man. I think that's the best person I can compare him to, a tall Chris Paul. And so when you start talking about that type of thing, how good is Tyrese Halliburton? However good as far as he wants to be. He's one of them type of super savant genius basketball players, man. But he has the length and height. So, yeah, man, the Pacers are the truth. So long as they can start finding a way to get some stops. If they ever become a really good defensive team, they're a contender. If he's healthy and the sum of what it is they have is healthy, they're a contender. So that's what I want to say. I'm not sure they don't step into contention, make a late game push, and then have a good playoffs. I'm not certain. I'm not certain if I'm the Cleveland Cavaliers, I want to play them. I'm not certain if I'm the New York Knicks, I want to play them. I'm not certain if I'm the Boston Celtics, I want to play them. And I know damn well if I'm the Milwaukee Bucks, I don't want to play them. Definitely don't want to play them if I'm the Bucks. No. In fact, I'm going to say something blasphemous. I think they're a little better than Bucks. As a team. Their stars aren't better. Tyrese ain't better than Giannis. You know what I mean? Pascal ain't better than Dame, even though Dame is having a down season. In the end, you probably would put your money on the Bucks. But I'm telling you, this is one of them situations where I don't believe that they're the greatest bet to beat the Pacers, given the history and what they've shown. Pacers just seem to have a number. They really do. They're real rivals. And Tyrese Halliburton's one of those guys where even if you're coming at them with a Dame time energy, he may come with his own time and throw it all the way off for your basketball club. So I think Tyrese Halliburton is that gifted of a basketball player to where if you have him, he may negate some of that superstardom that's coming at you with Dame. He might be a more gifted basketball player than Dame, period. In fact, I don't think it's a hot take. I really don't. I don't think that's a hot take at all. I love Dame for clutch situations, but Dame, he has to overachieve in certain areas, in my opinion. He's not as naturally gifted as Tyrese in certain areas. He can make assists happen. You've seen games where Dame go for 12 assists or something like that. But they don't come too often. Tyrese a fantastic defender. Dame, he ain't guarding nobody. And Tyrese can shoot the ball. And Dame can shoot the ball. You see what I'm saying? So Tyrese has things that Dame don't have. In his bag, it just is what it is. And I know that's crazy because like this is a new player we're talking about, and that's Dame Dollar. But Dame Dollar, if he ain't hitting threes and ringing off shots from 50 feet away, if his shot ain't falling, he ain't doing a whole lot. It's just rare when his shot ain't falling. A guy like Tyrese Halliburton don't have to take a single shot, and he could dominate the whole basketball. So he's just more gifted, in my opinion. I don't want to see them. And Giannis is a player where, am I crazy for thinking Giannis has gotten as good as he's going to be? Like there's nothing else to add to his game? I don't think there's anything else that he's going to add to his game, man. He's not going to be a better shooter than he is right now. He's already a fantastic playmaker and defensive player, can already dunk the ball as much as anybody in human life can ever. But the upside of a Giannis right now, I think we're finally in a space where he's reached his peak. Now, he could stay at this peak. It ain't like he's going to fall off. But I don't see him getting better from here. So if this is as good as it gets, I'm only but so much concerned if I'm a team like the Pacers who has so much upside from here and has already found ways of beating them in the regular season the way they have. And like I said, Joel's out the way. So that's all. I've run out of time, you guys, whether I like it or not. But I appreciate y'all for watching BDO 44. Bye.